Friday, the 13th of November, this is Advocast with stories from Advocate reporters Allison Miles on the plant closing.
It's an upsetting situation, but they said that Yorktown can and will recover from it.
David Hughes on pollution.
87% of the ozone that's recorded in Victoria actually comes from outside the area, and a great deal of that comes from the East Coast and the Midwest.
And Leslie Wilbur on a crowded courthouse.
There's also probably going to be a lot of people called for jury duty.
From the newsroom of the Victoria Advocate, this is Advocast with Bill Clough.
The Baker Hughes operation in Yorktown is closing. On Wednesday, there were reports of layoffs. In the newsroom is Advocate business reporter Allison Miles, who is covering that story. Allison, what's that closing going to mean for Yorktown?
Yorktown Mayor Renee Hernandez called the Baker Hughes closure something devastating for the city of Yorktown. The city has about 2,100 residents, and the company employed about 70 people at the time it announced its close. He said that, especially during economic times like this, it's difficult, to see more people lose their jobs in this climate.
Advocate reporter Allison Miles. The Environmental Protection Agency is thinking about adopting new standards on ozone emissions. If it does, it could mean that Victoria would be in violation. Covering that story is Advocate reporter David Hughes.
Right now, cities and counties are considered to be in violation of the federal ozone standards if their average readings exceed 85 parts per billion. The EPA, or Environmental Protection Agency, is looking at lowering that cap to between 60 and 70 parts per billion. And currently this year, the average for Victoria is 66 parts per billion. So we would be right in the middle of that range if they do adopt it.
Now, I understand that most of the pollution in Victoria isn't from the local area.
Well, 87% of the ozone that's recorded in Victoria actually comes from outside the area, and a great deal of that comes from the East Coast and the Midwest. As far as the sanctions, those are still up in the air right now. There are some very vague controls that are being discussed right now, which don't even really apply to the Victoria area. So the local folks will just have to wait and see what the state and the federal government come up with as far as sanctions.
More news after this.
Marketplace Victoria is Victoria's most comprehensive online directory of businesses. To find a business on Marketplace, simply visit marketplacevictoria.com, enter a search term in the search box, and press Submit. If you want more details besides phone and location information, just click that business. It's that easy.
Plans for the Port of Victoria, outlined by the Director and the Executive Director, were the highlights of the biannual meeting of the Victoria Economic Development Corporation.
One of the things that we're going to work on is we're working on a memorandum of understanding to go between the actual Port of Victoria, Calhoun Port Authority, and the Westside Calhoun Navigation District.
For now, it's just a friendship, so to speak. We are so close together, Port Lavaca, Port Comfort, Victoria. We're neighbors, and whatever is good for one of us, we feel is good for the entire region. We have a good relationship, and we'll build on that for the future, and hopefully do something, as I said, that will be good for the entire region.
Things are going to be busier than normal at the county courthouse in January. That's because a murder trial from San Antonio is being moved there. Advocate reporter Leslie Wilbur covers the courts.
The biggest effect this trial is going to have locally is that it's going to use up a courtroom. There's a potential for a long jury selection because it is a capital murder case. And there's also probably going to be a lot of people called for jury duty.
Forecast for Victoria and vicinity for Friday. Areas of fog before 9 a.m., otherwise mostly sunny, high of 81. For Friday night, patchy fog after 3 a.m., otherwise partly cloudy, low of 62. Finally, this is the third Friday the 13th of this year, which astronomers say is the most you can have in a given year. Now, in case you're worried about triple bad luck, 3 in 1 year won't happen again until 2015. But because the current urban myth is that the world will be destroyed in 2012, it really won't matter much, will it? That's Advocast for Friday from all of us lucky souls here at The Advocate. Thanks for watching. I'm Bill Clough.